Hi, everyone. This is week 5 of Passport to Lent. Jesus loved and healed many. We talked about Jesus being a teacher and that many people came to hear him speak all of his wise words. But also, people felt loved by Jesus. And Jesus loved everyone. Back then, children really weren't allowed to speak unless spoken to, and they were really thought of a kind of lesser, than the adults. So when people were trying to bring their children to see Jesus, the disciples thought, no, don't come bring your children because, there are more important people that need to see Jesus. But when Jesus saw that, he was so upset. And he said, let the children come to me. And that's why we have pictures. If you look around in different places, you'll see pictures of Jesus with children. It's in the Bible that he wanted to spend time with children because he loved them. It makes me think about, I wonder what life was like for those kids. What did they do to play and have fun? Well, in your packet, you'll see 2 things. You'll see a little horse. It's a little wooden carved horse because, yes, they had horses back then. And it has wheels. And so they would attach a string to the horse and they would pull it around. I wonder if any of you had one of those kinds of toys when you were little. And then here is one, it's made out of metal. And it is a tiny miniature cart that they might use to pull things along to market. I also looked into some of the things that they did for fun that you could easily do at home. And one was this. They would take rocks, and these are just little pieces of glass, but they would collect rocks and they would dig a hole. And then they would, draw a line apart from that hole. And then they would take turns seeing how many could get it into the hole. I'm going to use this basket over here and see if I can make them into the hole. Oh, missed one. So that's something that you can do. And you can say, I just played a game that kids in Jesus's time played. How cool is that? Another thing they used to do was they would take sticks. And I bet some of you have already done this before. But take sticks and fight each other. But they would pretend they were swords. Because a lot of people, that's how they battled each other, was with swords. And so that's what they would do. Now, if you do that at home, make sure you talk to your parents. Make sure that it's safe. But if you do that, it's just like what the kids did in Jesus's time. Today, we're also going to talk about another amazing thing that Jesus did, and that's that he healed people. When you fall and scrape your elbow, or if you burn your hand on the stove, I would guess you probably get a Band-Aid, right? And Band-Aids are kind of like plasticky kind of things. And they're the nice sizes. You can choose from different sizes. And it's all nice and you can just stick it on. It's self-sticking. Well, back in Jesus' time, they didn't have Band-Aids. You remember your pillowcase that came with your kit? Try to use it like they would have used a bandage. They wouldn't have little things to stick on an arm. They'd have to, tie it on so that it would stay. And then they would have to keep changing it and washing it. Unlike us who can just peel it off and throw it away. What was hard in that time is they didn't know quite what made people sick and what didn't make people sick. And so if someone was sick for a long time, they were afraid that they might catch that sickness. So people a lot of times couldn't even live in their own house. People who were born blind may have to just stay on the street and beg. And people who had leprosy, they weren't even allowed in the city. They had to sleep outside the city walls. and stay away from people. And if anybody touched someone who was sick, they had to run and get clean and take a special bath and have the priest say that it was okay. So everyone was really scared of people who were sick. But Jesus wasn't. Jesus knew that Jesus was God's son and that he could heal anything. And so up here, he's talking to someone who has leprosy. And he healed that person. And he healed blind people. And he healed a man who was laying next to a pool, hoping that that special pool water would make him well. He didn't need that pool water because Jesus healed him. And Jesus not only healed adults, but there are stories of Jesus healing children too. Jesus was for everyone. In the next page, we talk about how Jesus talked to everyone. Now, I don't know about you, but I know that there have been times that I will not talk to people. You know, sometimes if they look a little different, especially when I was little, I might not talk to them, or I might kind of make eye contact and then kind of look away. Or if people were angry with me, then I wouldn't talk to them because I didn't want them to get angrier at me. Well, Jesus was a little different. He was the bravest person ever, because I think this is really hard to do. So there were a lot of people that everyone that lived around Jesus said, you should not talk to these people. They are bad, they are evil, have nothing to do with them. But God's love is for everyone. So Jesus, in this first picture, he went to the town of Gerasene. Now, if you look at your map, you can see, so we have up here is Nazareth in Galilee, and then here is the Sea of Galilee, and you can put a picture over here where it says Gader. So in there, there's a city of Gerasene. And Jesus found this man who was so sick, so wild, that he didn't even wear clothes, and his hair was all crazy, and everyone was afraid of him. But Jesus came up to him, and he talked to him, and he made the bad parts go away. And so the man got dressed, and the people from the town were amazed, because Jesus wasn't even from that area. But Jesus was friends to everybody. You know, in this next picture, you see this is a big well. You know, we talked earlier a couple of weeks ago about how important water was and how you'd have to go to a well, sometimes outside the city like this one, and fill up a bucket of water and bring it back. Well, men and women were not supposed to talk in public back then. They were not. Unless they were from the same family, they weren't supposed to talk. But what was even more amazing is this woman was from a group of people called Samaritans. If you look on your map, right here in Samaria, that's where the Samaritan woman would have been from. So Jesus walked down to here and met this woman and talked to her. And not only talked to her, but told her how she could be saved. Everyone else from where Jesus was said someone like her wasn't even worth being saved. And even her own people, it says she didn't really have friends there either. But Jesus loved her, and Jesus talked with her. And she eventually went and told everyone about Jesus. And our last friend of Jesus was another woman. Again, women weren't supposed to talk to men when they were out in the town. But this woman had been sick for a really, really long time. She'd gone to doctors everywhere, and no one could heal her. But she believed Jesus could. So she went up in the middle of the crowds, in the middle of the street, and she grabbed onto his robe. And Jesus felt power go from his robe into her. He felt that she was healed. Now, he could have just walked away, but he didn't. And he didn't do it so he could get this woman in trouble. Instead, he stopped and made sure that everyone saw her and that they all knew that she was well, that she could go back and be with everyone. Jesus sure was a good friend, and we are so blessed to be a part of Jesus's family. So next week, we will learn about Jesus in Jerusalem. I can't wait. See you next week. We're going to sing our song. Shalom Haravim, Shalom Haravim, Shalom, Shalom. Lachit reot, Shalom, Shalom. Peace, everyone.